Hello everyone, welcome back. Welcome. So today I'm working on my champagne garden again. I finished in the last video the little gate, but then after the camera went off, using this rusty brown, I added in the hint of some stones as you'd walk through the path, and then I stitched down some of these little random beads. Now these are a repeat of what I used up here, so it's sort of carrying on that same story. So I've just put these two down, and I thought I'll turn on the camera, finish off these little pebbles with you. Then I want to start working on the flowers. There's a little bit of work to do around. I don't think I'll get it done in the hour, so I might have to just stop and start the video a bit and do 20 minutes of stitching, then come back, show you the next stage. Otherwise this little embroidery could potentially end up being 3 or 4 videos long, and we just don't have that sort of time. There's more work in the French garden one, and I'd rather spend time working on that and making additional videos for that one than this one, if that makes sense. So anyway, we'll see how we go. I just want to stitch a couple more little gold ones. What did I do with? Here they are. Just to get a little bit of sparkle in amongst my pebbles. Just a couple. Just a hint of glistening, like there's a little gold nugget sitting in amongst those rocks. And then I think I'll choose a green for the leaves and get that started. I did think about using a button as my little rose across the top there, so we'll explore that as an option, or maybe we can find a bead. I don't know, we'll see how we go. Just get these little pebbles done. I'll do one more. That gives us the direction of the path, I think, quite well. Oops. Actually, I should do a second stitch in him. I'm being lazy. And I'll just use my remaining cotton. No, it's unthreaded. It's the moment I rush. It's the moment it all comes apart. Isn't that the way? What's that saying? Something haste. Oh, let's not get philosophical. Okay, I'll just run a few little extra stitches through here because we did only just tack that down. So I could certainly do with a couple extra little invisible stitches through. All right, let's knot that off. And I'm just wondering, do I need a couple more lines through here? I might just a couple stitches, just to really bring that path into the foreground. I've got a little bit of thread left over, so might as well use it. Just with a hint Can't hurt. I'll take this one right over so it looks like it's swinging over there. The little embroidery that was on the doily that I cut in half, it's peeking through there, so that's worked out well. Yeah, that's good. That'll do. That'll give it a little hint that the eye is following a path. The stone's really, oh goodness me. Why is it that I turn on the camera and everything just knots up, twists up, falls off? I'm sure it happens to you guys as well. Okay, now I'll just tidy up my space here before I have beads. Do I need a few stones there? I sort of feel like I do. Okay. Here we go again, still in the stone department. Okay, just going to catch these little guys down. Just feel like it needs that little cluster there. Probably overthinking it. It doesn't matter. Let's just do it. Get the bigger one nestled in to the foliage. It's probably too big for it, but I don't care. I like it, so it's happening. Oh goodness, now I'm twisted up in the rocks. And then that other little one was just in front, the little wooden one. And then I might just put a little gold guy in front of that. Pick this little fellow up here. Devil in the detail. Just helps sell the story, doesn't it? Another little one. And then that'll do. I can always come back if I look at it later. You know when you put your work down and then you come back and you're like, oh no, that's still not quite right. I can always do that. But I'm pretty happy with that little guy just sitting there. All right, knot that off. We'll put those beads away. Now, let's have a look at the plants. So I'm thinking I will bring in a green. I won't need him again. So we're tidying up. We're going to be a good girl and not turn this desk into a there's a bead. An explosion of mess. Okay. Now, let's have a look at this here and see if we can find, here's a green that is muted. It's a bit dark. We need a real soft, dirty not have a green that would suit. That's too fresh. Well, how can I not have a green that suits? What's in here? That's pretty good. You can't even see what I'm comparing to. See this green fabric here? That's what I'm working towards, that soft. Too fresh, too dirty, too bright, too dark, too yellowy green. Okay. See, it's not even right either. Well, too dark. Just not right. Do I? That's closer. All right, that's interesting. It's more of a browny green. I was going too fresh. So, okay, let's just have a play with it. 642 is the cotton that I've ended up picking. So I'm just going to do a series of little lazy daisy stitches there. So nothing too exciting because it's sort of like a grassy plant. I want to put all my effort into the one that goes over the roof of the little house. So I'll get this started and sort of see how it lays down. I could probably do a darker thread for the stems of the plants. Let's just get a couple little stitches in. And they're sort of just random. They don't have to be attached. So for those of you who are new to embroidery, welcome. And I'll just show you how I do my lazy daisy. So I come up with my needle, create that loop, go back down where I came up, but in the process I also bring my needle back up, creating the little stitch like that. And I'm going to come straight up into the air and that catches that loop. Then to secure the loop, it's just a little stitch at the end. That's it. It's a classic. It's got so many applications. You can link them together. You can leave them open. You can, it's a great little stitch. It's a good fill stitch. Now I might just scoot back up there. Catch him. Him. It's a fast little stitch too. This little guy. So that's one little plant done. Now the decision is, what do I do the stem? Do I bring in another colour? I could go a little bit darker, but it has to be quite fine. Otherwise my little plant will look chunky. Got a little bit of thread left on my needle, so I'm just going to scoot over here and see how many of these little leaves I can use on the other side of the pole here with this remaining thread. Probably get 3. I'm using quite a heavy, thick needle. I just find it heavier. It's a tapestry needle. I just find it easier for my fingers to hold. I do a lot of embroidery and they're starting to get a little bit of wear in my joints and things. So what did I do wrong there? I just find that I tend to go towards a thicker needle, and for this type of work it's fine. Nice big eye, good length, so I got plenty for multiple fingers to hang on to it. But you just find needles that suit you. Everyone's got different requirements. Okay, I'm going to end that. I might get one more up the top here. Being a bit skimpy here. Skingy, what's the word? Skimpy. Use that last little bit of thread. Okay, I'll leave that for a moment because I can always do the rest of that plant off camera. We're 16 minutes in, and I sort of want to skip around the whole area. So we will use more of that to finish it. So let's have a look at the vein of the stem. I might use brown. No, it's too close to the fence, and that's not a bad one. Yeah, this one will do, but I only want two threads, I think. Let's put that one away because I don't want to be too overpowered by that green, because at the end of the day this is a champagne toned piece, so I've got to be very careful what colours I bring into it, because I don't really want to see a lot of colour. It's all about these monotones. So just a few little stitches. I won't join any of the leaves. I'll just leave it quite loose in the design, I think. A bit stick-like, fine. Just a hint of a branch scooting up there. Yeah, that's going to work. Okay, so we've knotted out those little tufts over there. I can finish them off camera, that one and that one. So I might just, I don't like that stitch. It looks a bit wonky why it suddenly went out like that. So I'm just going to undo it. And I'm actually going to just do a little stitch there like this. That looks better. And I could even put another little lazy daisy stitch up the top there. Okay. How are we going for time? That's pretty good. All right, so we've got a plan there. Now, let's have a look at the vine. So we've got a couple options. We could use a bead. As the flower. I sort of like that. And there's a few different sizes there, so I can get small as I go up. I'm digging that. These are like little pieces of pearl chips that they've polished. I sort sort of wanted like a little rose. Yeah, I like that. Okay, that's a decision made. Let's put that away because I only need a few. That's probably too many as it is. Oh gosh, now we're back to this bead needle again. I wonder if I do. Oh no. I was just thinking if I did a crochet cotton and created a star over them. I might just have a look at that. No, I'll keep it fine. Otherwise I'll overpower my hut. And I want my roof to be quite thick looking. And I didn't do a knot. It's because my brain started thinking. Okay, so let's just get a couple little stitches in. I want to try and keep this vine as fine as I can without it being too overpowering. So I might do a couple little stitches around the beads so it looks like they're petals. Yeah, I like that. Let's get this next little guy on. I like the shininess of the pearl. It's putting a bit of sparkle down there, but it's not too much because I do have sparkle throughout the piece. Okay, so I've done numerous stitches to hold the piece down, and that in turn has made it look like it's got a bit of a florally feel about it by having these little stitches. I probably would have liked the crochet cotton, but it would have made it quite chunky. And the other thing is that hole in this little pearl morsel is very small, and I would have struggled to find a needle that worked on the bead and also find a needle that would hold the cotton. So you can use so many different things to create your flowers in your garden. These are little pearl rocks, pearl chips. I got these from Spotlight. I believe the brand is Ribtex. So for the Aussie girls, they were hanging in the bead section on hooks, like they're drops of beads. Can I get one more? So now I need to think about what the vine is going to be, what colour. Do I use the same green? Is it the plant has just continued up? And you know, when these plants pop up on the other side of the garden path of throwing seeds and it's the same plant? That's what's happened here. And the reason I'm thinking along those lines is because this is a very neutral piece, and if I get too crazy with my colours, it's going to really start to drift away from the champagne look. So I'm thinking, I could probably put one more there. I'm thinking I stay with that same green and the same style. Yeah, I'm going to. I think that'll make it look quite elegant. I think if I go and add another green, it might start looking quite clumsy. So it'll be just more of those little lazy daisy stitches. Now I did draw, I've just noticed, I'd forgotten, I did draw two little lazy daisies there. So if I was going to bring in another colour, probably a creamy sort of tone, I could use those two to get in that extra little bit of pop of something. But the leaves themselves, yeah, no, I'm gonna, yeah, am I? I think so. I think it'll look more elegant. And the other thing is I'm looking over to all the greens that I pulled out and they just weren't right. They were too fresh or too dark, or so I'm going to finish this last little rose off, which is a pearl chip from a shell. So I'm happy with that. All right, now I'll pick up this again. And I'm going to continue with this same colour. There's something about monotones. Just, don't get me wrong, I love colour too. Gosh, if you've seen my other pieces, the girl likes her colour. She likes every colour. Someone asked me actually the other day what my favourite colour was, and I could not tell them. When I was a kid, it was blue. When I was quite young, it was pink. Now, I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you. I don't know. I seem to appreciate them all now. I never liked orange when I was a kid, but I find I use orange. I wear orange. I wear a lot of the primary colours, like what's the word? You know, when we used to work out if we were winter, autumn, spring or summer colours, when we're analysing our skin tone to colour, I'd come out as a winter with a hint of summer because I'm blonde, blonde, blue eyes, so I could wear those sorts of tones. But I'd never dabble in orange. That was a bit too much, but I do now. I just pick these random coloured blouses. You've probably seen my sleeves from time to time pop into shot, and you're thinking, gee, she wears colour. I do. I just find that I've jiggered up that stitch. I just find that it makes me feel good. I always get comments, you know, gee, that top is beautiful, and it's always the colourful ones that I get those sorts of comments. So I find that in my later years, I'm braver with colour. So when I was asked, what's your favourite colour? I don't like that leaf. It's going sideways. Does it matter? Yes, it does. It doesn't look right. Probably wasting time here. But I think we've got a plan anyway, so here we go. Oh, we got half an hour yet. That's good. We can get onto that roof. I I think I might get that stitch under the bead. And then I can get my angle, yep. Another one there. So I'm just doing random stitches now anyway. Get that vine happening. Working my way back down. I think that'll work. I do need to come back with that chocolate and finish the post, but I'll do that once I get the plant in position. Otherwise, there'll be stitches in my way, I can guarantee it. Let's have this stitch peeking from behind the post. That won't come from the front. I'll just do one more out of that little bit. Yep, that'll work. That's a great little colour, that. Okay, so our vine is going to work up there. We've got our little pearls in place. There'll be more of that down there. I can get a few of these little, that's the dark green, isn't it? Yep, a few of these little dark green stitches up that post. I might just use this little bit of the red. Just sort of meander a few little stitches through that zone. Just to give the hint of this little vine, or this creeper is not only shooting up around the base of the post, that it's popping up everywhere. Bit of a wrapping. Okay, easy, easy, easy. And then I can bring the stems down here a little. I can pop a few extra stitches or lazy daisies in. Okay, so you get the general picture of how that's going to go. Let's have a play with the roof before I run out of too much time, because I really want to have a play with this yarn. In my head, I think it will work. This is gumnut yarn, one of their colours. I think I only need one strand. I need the big needle with the big eye. And I think I'm going to start here and just do like long stitches, but not too long, but long enough to be a bit stabby. A little bit of stab stitch. And I think the yarn will give the roof a bit of a two-dimensional feel. Yep, that's good. I like that. Yeah, that will work. Great. And I haven't had to stop and start the video. I was sure I wouldn't get as much done as I wanted to, for you guys to sort of see where I was heading. So that's great. 35 minutes. I got heaps of time. Awesome. Like, it's not hard to stop the video and join them all together. I use the Apple program, Apple iPhone, and my iPad has iMovie on it, and it's so simple. If you're considering doing a YouTube video or channel, I'd highly recommend the Apple iMovie. It's simple, simple, simple. They're teaching it in schools here now for kids to edit videos, and I'm only using it to the basics. Like, I don't add music and things like that, but I have been shown how to do it, and it was simple to import a piece of music to your work, but I don't need that. I'm freestyling. I just turn it on and go. If there's a lot I want to cover in a video of an hour, I just hit stop. That locks down that little segment that we've just filmed. I then hit play when I'm ready, and then in the little app I can just tap on all of the little segments and it just joins them together. I can then add some words that can pop up to give you a bit of a hint on what the video is about, in case you're sort of quickly looking for something, and saves you watching all the way through to find out that it's not the one you were wanting to rewatch, something like that. And that Apple app really is easy. Really, really simple. Marianne is a primary school teacher. That's my mate doing this. She's a primary school teacher, and she's now working in head office teaching teachers technology. So she is right into using these little tricky apps. So she shows the teachers how to use them. She travels around a few schools, and then the teachers can use those programs within their classrooms. And she said that Apple is just really got it together. They got a fantastic product. So yeah, if you're thinking about doing some videoing, I just use my iPad, and I've got it on an arm above me here. Just hit record. I do project it to a TV so that I can see what I'm doing, and I use Apple TV. It's a little box that links Apple to your actual TV, and in that I can screenshot it up. I'm getting technical now, but yeah, it pretty much allows me to see my work on a TV in the room, so I'm not having to look up, you know, at the iPad and jump up out of my chair and all that. So really, really simple. Oh, that needle is so big. Oh yeah, dust. Well, that roof is coming together really easily, and I like the fact that this yarn is giving me just that little bit of texture. So I'll keep going on the roof, because we've got plenty of time while I yibby yabber away here. Okay. We're having a puppy play date this afternoon. I have Bandit and Pepper. For those of you who've been watching a while, I've got 2 Australian Shepherds, and Bandit's litter mate, Bruce, he is coming to visit. His mum, she is a vet here in Brisbane, and she purchased Bruce, and there's a Facebook group, Australian Shepherds Brisbane, or Brisbane Australian Shepherds, and there's quite a few members, and they get together at different dog parks one Sunday a month, and all the puppies play. So anyway, I had been a member of it for a little while because I did find Pepper's, one of Pepper's little mates, and that happens to be the lady that started the group. Anyway, long story short, Bruce come into our lives 2 years later, or a year later. Not Bruce, Bandit, my boy. And I was just watching this site and up popped this pup, and he was the same birth date as my boy. And I thought, has to be a litter mate. So I reached out to her and introduced myself, and yes, it was. And the day that we went and got Bandit, we drove down to this farm at Beaudesert to pick him up. Now, the breeder of the dogs is actually a family friend, and he's been using these dogs for years on his farm as working dogs. And he also breeds them and sells them to other farmers, and, you know, they're just fantastic dogs. So I've had an Australian Shepherd before because I'm on a little bit of land, so there's plenty of space for them. Anyway, I drove down to this property that he has down near Beaudesert and to pick up Bandit. And on the little laneway that we were driving along to get to this farm, we passed another car. And I looked in the car and I could see two ladies, and I was sure there was a pup in their arms. The passenger had a pup snuggled into her neck. And I thought, oh, I bet they've been to my mate's house and they've got a puppy. So it turns out that Saturday, myself and this vet was the last pups to go. So that car I passed in the laneway was my mate. So long story short, we caught up on Facebook, introduced myself. I believe you have the litter mate to my Bandit. And she was like, sounds like we do. So we've just been sharing photos as our dogs have grown up. They're both 10 months now. And we've had some little puppy dates where the boys get together and have a play. So this time they're coming to my place and we're going to put a barbecue on. And as a surprise to Bruce's mum, I've invited my mate who has all the puppies, the dogs. So Lynn has often commented, oh, I'd love to show Gavin the dog and how he's grown up, and we just love him to bits. And I said, yeah, well, we'll have to get together. You know how you say it, we'll have to get together, but just never do. We're just busy. So when Lynn said, do you want to have a puppy date again? I was like, oh, for sure. Well, I'm sure the boys will love to get together. We will. I secretly have invited Gavin, and he's in town because he's got a couple farms in different regions, and there's about 3 hours between each farm. So, yeah, he's free and he's actually down this way, so he's going to come over as a surprise and visit, check out these pups that are now fully grown dogs, and we're going to have a barbecue. Lynn's bringing the prawns. I've got some little lamb chops and some fruit. So I'm just going to put together a bit of a platter, and we're just going to nibble while the dogs run around like idiots, chasing each other. That's what they did last time. They just went nuts. It was like, yeah, they were crazy, but so cute. I probably shouldn't have stitched all this roof like I have, but I think it'll be okay. The leaves, I think, will look fine. They will go over the top of everything. I don't think it'll be too much of a troubles, but it has come together quite quickly. So at the end of this video, I will place a photo of what we have achieved today, so you can sort of see where we're at. And then in the next video, I'll show you sort of the finished piece. Having said that, we've still got 15 minutes and I have a feeling I will get this roof finished. So all I'll actually need to do is finish the green leaves, come up with something for that bottom. Oh, I know what we'll do on the bottom. Maybe I do some more beads in the shape of the flower. Maybe I'll pop a couple over there. Do I have enough room? Yeah, I think I will. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to repeat this little guy over here. I think that'll look really sweet. So let's knot that off. How quick did that come together? A little bit more. This might be just enough to finish the job. I'm happy with the way that's come together. Okay, where are we? We're over here. So let's get this corner completed. These few shingles. And we'll see how we're going for time, because I think I won't do the beading because that's going to take definitely. But I might pick up the green cotton again and keep working the little foliage elements. And I might get back up on that roof and do a bit up there so you can sort of see how it will. What did I do with the picture that we used? I don't know where I put it last week. I was just wondering what they did across the roof, but I guess it doesn't matter. I can figure it out. We'll just go for it. Gee, to stitch this as messy like as I have would never have happened when I was a kid. If I had have ironed this onto a piece of linen or cloth, I would have meticulously stitched each stroke. I would not have been as free with my embroidery as that, because we just didn't do it like this, did we? We did these precise embroidered stitches. It was so strict. And if your lazy daisy didn't look right, you had to undo it, do it again. Okay, feels like we sort of paint with thread more now. Does that make sense? It's sort of, yeah, it feels like it's more free. I'm going to get rid of all of these greens because they're not needed before I get mess. Now, let's grab some of this. We've got 10 minutes. How many little leaves can we do in 10 minutes? Not many if I can't split the thread quickly. I must keep that brown out. No, I use that for the post. So I can get that brown post coming up there as well. That's got to be done. Okay, let's get this going. Okay, so let's get some lazy daisies up onto that roof to create, oh, it's too big. It's the end of the plant and it looks like a massive leaf. Let's try that again. Okay. Let's do that again. So we only want a little guy. We don't want a big leaf. That's better. Because it's the top of the plant, it's the tip. So they need to be a little bit more dainty. Yeah, that's good. Not too big. Seem to be doing big stitches for some reason. I think it's because I've just finished the roof and it was big stitches. That's it. So I've got our little creeper coming up over the little guy, the little hut. Yeah, really happy with that. They've all come together. Another little one there. Another little one there. Just keeping it random. It's the last one out of that thread. Or can I sneak another? I think I can. Okay. End it off. Gone quiet. I've run out of stories to tell you. Okay. Next thread. So we've still got time. Yep. Okay, so we might do a few leaves on the top side of the roof here. Yep, that looks good. I'll jump down to the next spot. Pop a little leaf in there. Another one next to it. So it's come together quite quick. Oh, that's a shocking stitch. I haven't even got them close together. Nope, undo it. Grandma wouldn't be happy with that stitch. Just because it's more random these days and not so precise doesn't matter. That wasn't the correct finish. I like how it's subtle. It sort of hasn't overpowered it. I'm so pleased that I picked the same green. Yeah, I love it. Colour's tricky. You can really change the feeling of a piece. Sometimes it just takes time to get the colours right, especially with embroidery, because you're trying to convince the viewer of the piece of what you're trying to achieve, if it's an eye or a cat or whatever. So colour is so important to sell the story. I'm going to do a few down into the air down here from this angle. Just a few little stitches just to soften that. Yep. Yeah, that's great. I did consider using some linen covered buttons too, because I did use a couple when I was making the first video last Sunday and I was talking about this vine. I used a couple up in here, but they would have been too big. They would have overpowered the roof. So I was thinking along the lines of beads, and they've worked out well, especially there was different sizes. So I was able to, you know, fiddle around there with size to help convince you that it was a vine. They'd probably be, you know, really at the end of the day, they're probably too big for the hut, but let's pretend they're magnolias, which don't grow on a vine, and they're big flowers. So I'm just going to pop a few random little stitches in here for this, the twig. I sort of don't want it to overpower the piece because it is a dark colour, but we do need to make it look like these leaves belong to something. So I'll just put a single line at the moment through, and we'll have a look at it in the next 3 minutes. And if I need to put a few extra strokes of the green, well, I can. Let's just get it up to the top of the little hut. Okay, so that's convinced me that the plant exists. I might just work my way back down with just a couple little connecting pieces. Just a few. Don't want to get crazy because otherwise it'll look too strong. Just a couple little twiggy bits, I think, is all it needs. I'm going to run out of thread. Might connect that little leaf in. Put a random twiggy bit there. I might be able to come across. Should I? Yeah, no, I'll go back. I might, there's 2 leaves down here out on their own, so let's take a little branch across to them, catch that one over there so he looks like he is part of it, because otherwise he'll look like he's just hanging. Yeah, that's not too bad. Then we might just do a little stitch back to there. Yep, that's good. And I might end that off and we'll have another look at it. Do I need any more, or is that enough? And we're coming up to the hour anyway, so let's just have a quick little look. I think I need a couple little stitches. Let's just finish this. What's 3 minutes? Looks a bit like I could do with bit of a stitch there, a bit of a stitch coming over to that leaf. It can be a bit thicker in around the post because it's, yeah, I think that's it. So it's winding up, then it starts its spread once we get up to the rafter. That thread then, this excess, can go down to the bottom at the ground level. And can be used here. And this little guy can come up here. I can pop a few more green stitches in to create leaves, but this little twig. So this is the seeds have dropped over here and this vine is starting again on the opposite side. That's the story, all right? I sold it enough as to why I didn't bring in another colour. So that little fellow can go right through and catch him. Yeah. Like that. Okay. I think you got the general gist of what I'm up to. Don't have a lot to do, actually, now that I look at it again. I could finish this little fellow over here, a couple more leaves. I think I'll put another one up the top there, do a repeat, and then I'll have a look at something for here. Either the beads, they might be too big. Yeah, I think that is going to be too big over here, so I might have to come up with another idea, but we will see. We'll catch you in the next video. I wonder, actually, if I can use a bit of this. Don't mind that. Bring a bit of this ribbon embroidery in. Anyway, stay tuned. That's where we're at so far. Hope you've enjoyed the video and I will see you all again in the next video. Okay, bye for now. Bye. Hi guys, I'm back. I ended up sitting here for a few more minutes and I finished. So I thought I might as well turn the camera on. What's another minute or two just to show you the finished piece. So I've now ironed it and the pen is gone. So everything is done and I'm really pleased with it. I ended up going and snipping those two little ribbon leaves out and then another two over here and stitching them in. They just sort of added, I guess, some more foliage to it. I just didn't really want to do another flower, and a lazy daisy flower would have been lost, I think, because it's quite chunky here. So I'm really, really pleased with it. I left the tulle on the back of those ribbony little leaves, and that sort of has added some texture. I put the other two down here. They were the only four I could pinch out of that piece because the rest were caught in with a pink rose. So if I was to snip them, it probably would have all unraveled. So they were the only four little guys I could sneak out, but I'm really pleased with them. They match in beautifully. I love that piece, sits there nicely. I've got my little stones and then the vine going up, the little magnolia flowers. We're going to pretend that they're magnolias up over the little roof. So there you go. So at the end of the video, you'll see a couple photos of it when I originally stopped, and now you'll see a photo of this completed. So there you go. See you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.